Welcome to NHBC's Pride in the Job Awards, coming to you from Milton Keynes. Today, we're diving into what our future homes will look like. With Labour's commitment to building 1.5 million homes over the next 5 years, there's never been a more important time to discuss how we can deliver high-quality, sustainable homes for the future. Thanks so much for joining me today. It's always really interesting to hear how people began their career in the house building industry and how they've got to where they are today. Andy, what was the journey like for you?
Mine was a change of career. I was around 2021. Had some friends that worked on a construction site who said at the time the site manager was looking for a trainee. So took the dive, went for it. And he said I wouldn't survive because it was coming into the winter and I'd be too soft for it. So 6 months in, he said, you've turned up, you've been reliable. I'll put you on what at the time was one of the early stages of the NHBC MVQ.
And where you are today, people often must think you've always done that, you've always been there. But actually, you're a great prime opportunity, example of someone that's really worked their way up.
Yeah, I think to be able to get to that point, you can put all the work in and all the effort in, but you need people around you that will support you. I've got a contracts manager I used to work for many years ago. He'll know exactly who he is. He believed in me, and I guess there was that role model that made me think I don't want to let the guy down. So you perform at your best, and you need people to support you. And I worked at a business for 15 years. I've been at Bloor Homes 9 years next month. This chap next to me has stood by me as well. And if you've got that, as well as your work ethic, I think that's the most important thing, is people seeing something in you.
Carl, I'll come to you in a moment. But Paul, same question to you. I mean, where's your journey come from?
I always wanted to be a carpenter, and I just had that opportunity. And then as I navigated through my apprenticeship and became a qualified carpenter, other opportunities opened up for me.
Fantastic. So it's true what they say, people can have a real long and prosperous career in the house building industry.
Yeah, there's so many opportunities, and I think we don't promote the industry enough, that young people can start at 16, graduate programs, apprenticeship programs. There is so many opportunities.
Carl, where did your career start?
So I became an apprentice bricklayer at 15. Successfully completed that course and was fortunate enough to be spotted. I did quite well academically, and went into a new office as a quantity surveyor. Enjoyed that, but really wanted to get out on site, felt the buzz on site, so went out on site as a assistant site manager, moving on to site manager, and fairly similar to Paul's, contracts manager, construction director, and the position I'm in now. So.
And do you enjoy your job? Have you always enjoyed it?
I do enjoy my job. Challenging, but that's part of the enjoyment. But you certainly enjoy the job. Probably most rewarding job was being a site manager, actually, in terms of the day-to-day interaction. It's a great career. So many opportunities in the construction industry. I echo what Paul says, really. We don't sell our industry anywhere near enough to the young boys and girls. Particularly from an academic point of view. I think there are so many opportunities, and the industry has got such a great record of promoting good people.
And Andy, do you think we promote that enough in schools, or what do we actually need to do to get people coming into the house building industry? Because all three of you are great examples of the kind of longevity of a career that you can have and the opportunities that it's given to you.
I think one of the stigmas we probably need to alter slightly is that the building industry was always kind of perceived as the role you went into if you academically weren't where you needed to be. That isn't the case. There's so many opportunities from brickwork, carpentry, apprenticeship schemes. We actively work with the colleges very closely. We have an apprentice master that works with them, that helps them with their college work as well. I think it's the stigma it's an amazing industry with so many different avenues. My daughter had a work experience, asked if she could come to our company, which surprised me a little bit. And as a parent, you'd like to help with that. She always knew Daddy built houses, that was it. But when she came to the office and met everyone in technical, commercial, sales, and the construction team, I think she suddenly realised it isn't just about a building site. There's a lot more that goes on behind it.
She's been inspired.
Possibly.
Do you hope she has? You hope that's a career path she goes down?
I definitely think so. It's a very rewarding job. Just in what you can achieve, but also financially, it's a good career, and so I'd like to think she'd take that avenue, but that's her choice, obviously.
Well, watch this space, as they say. And Paul, a good time to be coming into the industry as well, or thinking about it as your future career. We know the government has ambitious targets, I suppose, to build 1.5 million homes over the next 5 years. Do you actually think that's achievable?
I think you've got to put it into context. The previous government targeted 300,000 homes and probably didn't quite hit 200,000. So as an industry, we welcome those type of targets. However, our planning system is broken. We've got a skill shortage. I personally believe you won't see that in their 5-year term. If they do the right, they are making the right noises. If they invest in the right resources, especially in the planning system, and invest in the skills shortage and actively encourage people to come into the industry, then who knows? But it's very ambitious targets.
Cole, do you agree? Are the two main problems really the planning system and the skills shortage that we're facing? That means we might not achieve this goal of 1.5 million homes.
I do, yes. Without a doubt, the planning is the greater concern for every developer, I would imagine. 300,000 houses a year is a significant target against what the industry's been achieving over the past few years. It would be a significant step up. I think it's fair to say most developers are geared up and want to deliver those homes, whether that be private homes, whether that be affordable homes. But at the moment, the planning system is such that everybody's got schemes which are held up for various reasons, but fall into that box of planning. Skill shortage is a concern, but I think for me, the concerns with getting onto the field and actually getting into construction is the greater issue. And to achieve 1.5 million homes in the first term of Labour, I think is best ambitious.
And what are you doing, Andy, at Bloor Homes to try and close that skills gap? Because I know you go out yourself and meet apprentices. Are you seeing apprentices really wanting to come through and to join the industry to help bridge that gap?
I think definitely, I would say in the last 3 to 4 years, where we used to advertise for apprenticeships for bricklayers and carpenters, you'd see very small numbers. As an example, I spoke to one of our apprentice masters. He had 90 applicants for apprentices, which shows that we're going in the right direction. And I think with the apprentice masters working closely with them, they've got a mentor there. They're not in probably in these guys' days, you didn't have someone mentoring you, just like you were with a gang or you were on a site, and so they're there to support them through college work, because the college work is as important as the manual side to it. I guess we probably don't always realise that we should be inspiring these guys, and they should be thinking, I can be where they are. And these guys are the side of me I work with Carl. I know a chap that works with Paul, and we're like that next generation coming through. So it's at every level, there's different generations coming through.
And we're hearing as well, like 90 apprentices is a lot. And often we hear people say, oh, there's not enough apprentices. So what's the problem there? Because you're obviously taking them on at Bloor Homes, and I know that Bellway is as well. But if there's 90 people wanting to be an apprentice, do we need more of the contractors, the subbies to be recruiting as well?
The uptake of the amount of people that want to apply is a good thing, because it's showing that there's obviously a younger generation that are aspiring to it. But to manage it correctly, we can have sort of anything between 5 and 7 of either brickwork and or carpentry, because you've got to make sure you give them that journey. You can't have too many, because you've got to be able to look after them, make sure they do the college work, make sure they do the practical work, and also let them build houses. They don't just snag. They do snagging, but they are there to build homes.
Hands-on doing
it. Yeah, and they're building something that people move in.
Well, talking about building new homes, let's turn to the future of new homes as well. We know we're going to be seeing much more technological advances in our homes, so solar power, heat pumps possibly as well, boilers. What do you think of the houses of the future are going to look like, Paul?
The footprint of the house will pretty much be the same, subject to space standards. However, the future home will be PV solar, which will link to batteries, air source heat pumps, full electric. So the benefit to the homeowner will be that they can manage the solar gain and the generation into a battery, which will save them on their electric. There is technology that will help the homeowners sell their power back into the grid. So it's very, very interesting times and exciting times. We are waiting for the future homes regs standards to be actually dictated when they're coming out. They're talking about 2026. It was 2025. So once that paper is issued in the new year, gives us as house builders that clear direction, but it's exciting for the homeowner.
It definitely is. And I think we've all must be of a time where we remember watching the BBC's Tomorrow's World on the television as well and seeing what we might live like in the future. Do you think we're going to start seeing things, Carl, for the average homeowner, that our houses are going to look pretty different to how they do right now?
In the longer term future, absolutely. At the moment, as Paul says, we're heading towards air source heat pumps, PV batteries. So effectively a non-gas solution. So the gas boiler, once we've got a firm date on the future home standards, there will be no gas on site. Nobody will have a gas solution. The thing with that, I think we need to be clear with homeowners initially, is it's not necessarily going to lower your heating bills, because electricity in itself is expensive at the moment and has been for quite a while. So it is actually more about the carbon footprint, about the lower energy that home will use with an air source heat pump. That's the initial advantages of going electric. But we do need clarification, because you're starting these new schemes and in the future, and we're heading towards only having electric. But if it was a smaller scheme that might be coming in the next 12 months, you might consider still going gas because of the sort of the crossroads between the two. So there is much to consider at the moment. There's
a big mindset change as well for the whole population, isn't there, Andy, in the sense that, you know, what we've all lived with for so long, actually we're going to have to start making some big changes.
Yeah, I think as humans, we're sometimes a little bit resistant to change. I think, these guys have looked at it from a slightly higher level. I think my view on it is, if you compare it to sort of electric cars, why do people go for electric cars? Do people do it for the right reason because they believe it's the right thing for the environment? And it's making sure that the people that want to buy these homes are buying into what they will gain from it. And do they believe in what they're going to buy into? And I think that's where there's a bit of an information gap, where people aren't 100% sure what the gain is. And I think in this current climate, people want to know what that actual financial gain is, rather than maybe the sustainability or the environmental element to it. So by educating better on that, I think that we'll probably get a bit more engagement from the purchasers, really.
I mean, let's be honest, would you be happy to buy, if you were looking to a new build home, would you be happy to buy one of a future home standard?
If I thought you were going to say a new build there, I was going to say absolutely, of course I would. I think so. I think definitely there's huge benefits to it, but I don't think we really understand exactly what that does to your day in, day out life, what it does to your bills. So I think we need to understand that better. But I would, looking at the solar panels, the charging points that we're currently doing, there is a benefit. It's just understanding how that outweighs against the cost as well.
And what more needs to be done, do you think, to support the industry itself in this transition to future homes? It's not just the homeowner, but the industry's got to go with it too.
Yeah, well, I think it is. It's educating. I think it's educating everything from not just the homeowner, but actually the guys and the ladies that we've got on site. do they understand why they're building what they're building, and are they able to portray that over to the homeowner? You know, all developers will have what is a new home demo. That's where you need to be able to not sell that pitch because they've already bought that home, but it's actually the stuff on the future homes. It's quite a lot more information to know and to try and understand, and we need to understand it very clearly before we're relaying that out to homeowners.
Are you nervous about it, Paul, or do you actually welcome it?
I welcome it. I think the government's got their part to play because they need to invest in the electric network to ensure that there's capacity and to make sure that us as developers can actually do what they want us to achieve. So the government's got their part to play, and the investment that they've got to put into the national grid is going to be their part to play as well. And just the clarity and when they issue the 2025 regs on exactly what we're doing, and then every developer will do things slightly differently, but how we achieve that criteria.
I'm not going to hold you all to this answer if it doesn't come true, but if you had a crystal ball, Carl, when would you predict that we would see net zero homes actually becoming the norm?
The target's 2050, as I'm sure we all know. I think if we get clarity on future home standards, there's no reason why the industry can't achieve that, but there's an awful lot to do between now and then, just in terms of the technology and actually the supply chain. Simple analogy of the number of gas boilers that are currently being fitted and the number of air source heat pumps, that's going to flip very, very quickly once we move to future home standards. And there is a concern that the supply chain is able to keep up, is able to deliver those units. So yes, I would say it's achievable, but everybody needs to be taking action now.
Have you got your crystal ball out today, Andy, to give us your prediction on this?
I definitely haven't got a crystal ball. I think it's going to be tough. I think if we're completely honest and we look at a lot of the other factors that have come into the industry over, say, the last 10, 15 years, it's very rare they land when they say they'll land. So I think if you went on history, I think it'd be an optimistic date to go for 2050, but who knows?
We'll see. Are you more of an optimist, Paul?
I think you might not get to net zero, but I think there'll be a big focus on the carbon, the insulation, to make that house very, very efficient. So as Cole alluded to, electric is very expensive, but if the house is extremely efficient, and I think there'll be a stronger push to ensuring that house is carbon efficient. Whether we get to net zero, who knows?
We'll wait and see, but we surely do know there's exciting things to come for new build homeowners of the future as well, and the house building industry as a whole. Thanks so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. Well, here at Pride in the Job, we're proud to be celebrating the work that's being done to build that future.